Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Venerable Sangha, Seale and Laity. So today in our Dhatukatha discussion, we have to start the second chapter, chapter number 2. But before that, there is one more thing which I would like to. For that, there is one more thing which I would like to explain from the first method, right? So this is regarding number 70 in Asaññābhavo, right? So in this Pāļi, we have few things to explain. I forgot to explain this thing about this Pāļi during the last class, in our last class. So I will go through this Pāļi and explain it, what it means, because there were a few questions which some of the students personally asked from me regarding this question. Yes, so I will first I will go through the Pāļi. So in Pāļi it says Asaññābhavo and Ekavokara-bhavo. These two are two states of inquiries which have the similar meaning, and because of that they are combined. So I will do with the first one. Asaññābhavo ekena kandena dvihāyatanehi dvihi dhātuhi sanghito katihi asanghito chatuhi khandehi dasahāyatanehi solasahi dhātuhi asanghito. So we'll look at the translation from the PT's translation from Mulapaṭṭhāna Sayadaw. So it says non-percepted becoming, which is the Asaññābhavo. The other one is also included here, Ekavokara-bhavo. So we'll go with this one. Non-percepted becoming is classified under one aggregate, under two bases, and under two elements. Under how many it is not classified? It is not classified under 4 aggregates, under 10 bases, and under 16 elements. So let's take the Sayadaw's explanation from this book. Right. This one, non-percepted becoming, Asaññābhavo. So in this, it is indicated, it is included, it is classified under one aggregate, 2 bases, and 2 elements. So the constituent dhammas which are constituent to this Asaññābhavo is the ninefold vitality group matter. So what is included in this ninefold vitality group matter? It's the It's the 8 inseparable matter plus and the vitality, right? So it means the Jivitindriya is the vitality, and 8 inseparable matter means the Suddhataka, right? Which includes the 4 great elements, then the color element, the order element, taste element, and the nutrient element, right? So these are included here. So, but in terms of the classification of the aggregate, this is included, classified in matter aggregate. But when it comes to the classification of the bases, it includes two bases. That is the Rupayatana and Dhammayatana, right? Dhammayatana. So in those two bases, it's classified. So for the reason, it's that it says now when you look at these Dhammas which are included here, now it consists of, so we have the four elements, right? Four elements here, right? So four elements, and this one is taste, right? And nutrient. So in the four elements, the Patavi, Apo, and Tejo, fire, Patavi, Vayo, and Tejo, the earth element, wind element, and fire element. So these three are considered as the Pottabhayatana, right? But it is not considered here. Only the Rupayatana and Dhammayatana are considered, right? And from this one, in the color part, right? In this the color one, this Dhamma, it is considered as Rupayatana, right? For the beings in the non-percepted becoming. So whatever it is included in their color thing, which can be visible, the visible form, it's included in the Rupayatana. The rest of the other 8 Rupa are included in Dhammayatana, in this part, right? In the Dhammayatana. So that's why we find two bases here, Rupayatana and Dhammayatana. So the reason to not include the Patavi, Tejo, and Vayu not into the Pottabhayatana is the reason. The reason is that it does not do the functionality of a base, because we know that they don't feel anything, right? Because there is no consciousness in the non-percepted becoming. Because of that, it's not doing a function of a base, so it's not included. But the visible form of those beings have the functionality of a base, because the other Brahmas who live in the same realm, they can see the non-percepted beings, right? They live in the fourth Brahma realm. So the other Brahmas who lived in this fourth Brahma realm can see the non-percepted beings. So because of that, they function as the Rupayatana, right? So that's why these they are included in the Rupayatana, and all the other 8 types of matter, they are included in Dhammayatana. So same with the bases as well, right? Rupa Dhatu and Dhamma Dhatu. So that's how it is included, right? So this one I did not explain last time, I forgot to do that, so that's why I added here. So if you have any questions, you all can ask me. Right. So now we'll move to the topic number 2, I mean the method number 2. Right. So method number 2, it's Dutiya Nayo Sangahitena Asangahita Pada Niddeso. So this is what we are going to discuss today, the new topic. Right. So I send you a note which includes a translation and some additional explanation. So I hope that you had some time to go through it as preparation for the class. And if not, no problem. We are going to explain it now. So okay. So I send this translation, right? So send this translation to you all, and if you go through this document, so if you go through this document, right, in the first document it says the method 2, 8 groups, Pāļi and translation. So it says 8 groups. Now, so what do we mean by 8 groups? So instead of learning now in the method number 2, there are 42 states of inquiries. Here we see there are 42 states of inquiries. If you go through this Pāļi and count, there are 42 states of inquiry, which we have to separate deal separately. But what we are going to do is that we are going to group it. So what is done here is that in Myanmar, this is taught in groups, right? So instead of learning all these, okay. So what is done in Myanmar, the shadows, the teachers, Dhamma teachers in Myanmar, they teach it in 8 groups. So instead of going through each of these in separately, each of the terms, states of inquiries in Pāļi separately, it's grouped into 8, right? So what happens is that if we learn these 8 groups separately, we can, based on this, we can learn the other states of inquiries which I explained in the second method. So there are 42. All in all, there are 42 states of inquiries in this second method, but only we have to learn how many? 8 of them. So if we learn 8, we can deal with the rest, right? So that's how we are going to learn the Dhatukatha from now on, which means from method 2 to method number 14. What we are going to do is like we are going to learn them separately. So I have numbered them 1 to 8. I have numbered them, and there is a number here, right? 171, 171, like that. There is this number here given. So this number is the reference to the Pāļi, right? So 171, 172, 173, 174, 175 is not there, 176, again 177 is not there. So this is the reference to the Pāļi, right? The Pāļi which is available in the Chata Sanghayana application, right? So 171, 172. So like that you can refer this easily. Right. And there are a few things I would like to emphasize in the beginning of this second method, starting from the second method. So if you consider the Dhatukatha, the whole treatise as a whole, the treatise, method number 2, it's difficult to understand. Difficult means like you need to do some, do some work, and your mind need to be adjusted to learn this thing, right? To grasp the concept properly. So method number 2, you have to work that, and also for method number 6, you have to do the same. So So which means if you learn this second method correctly, from second method to method number 5, 2, 3, 4, 5 becomes easy, right? So if you learn 6, from 6 to 14, it becomes easy, right? So it's so what I'm requesting is that when we are learning, when we are discussing this today, ask me questions, right? Ask me questions and try to engage with me as much as possible, and try to understand this thing properly, right? So because in my previous experiences, I know that sometimes the students consider this as very easy, and on the face it sounds easy. It may look easy when I explain it, but it takes some time to absorb it properly. That I know by experience. So that of course will happen to you as well. So take your time and do your best to understand it, and ask questions from me, right? Engage with me. That's a request, so that y'all can understand this thing easily and properly. For the Chinese students also, right? We know now today we have this simultaneous interpretation. Bhante Kassapa is interpreting. So also please tell the Chinese students, Dhamma friends, that they also can ask questions from you. Then you can translate it, and try to have this class as engaged as much as possible, right? So it will be beneficial for everybody. Right. So we told that there are 8 groups, which means we have to learn eight states of inquiries, and based on that we can learn the rest, right? So we go through the first one. The states of inquiry is Chakkayatanena, right? Okay, go through it. Chakkayatanena ye dhamma khanda sangahena sangahita ayatana sangahena asangahita dhatu sangahena asangahita te dhamma katihi khandehi katihayatanehi katihi dhatuhi asangahita te dhamma chatuhi khandehi dvihayatanehi attahi dhatuhi asangahita. So this is the first state of inquiry. We have the question and also the answer here, right? So I'll quickly go through this thing, right? The Pāḷi. These states are classified using the aggregates, unclassified using the bases, unclassified using the elements, by the I base, under how many aggregates, under how many bases, and under how many elements are those states unclassified. Those states are unclassified under 4 aggregates, under 2 bases, and under 8 elements, right? So first we need to understand what is the question and what is the answer, right? Now, right? So this part, right? These states are classified using the aggregates, unclassified using the bases, unclassified using the elements by the I base. Under how many aggregates, under how many bases, and under how many elements are those states unclassified? So this part of the question, this part is the question, right? And this one, it's obvious, it's the answer. Right? This is the answer. I need to break it down, right? So then what we are going to do is we'll break down this question properly, and then try to come up with the constituent dhammas, the associated the ultimate realities for this thing. So okay, so go to the whiteboard, right? So I analyze this question, right? I analyze this question Oh, I have to tell some. I need to tell y'all something regarding this translation, right? So if you look at this translation, in the PTS translation, which was done by Mulapattana Sayadaw, it's different from what I have done here, right? So what Sayadaw has done is that using this the way that Sayadaw's translated, it is quite easy to derive the Paramatta Dhammas quite easily, right? It means that because it's two techniques which is taught in Myanmar and which is explained in Sayadaw's book. And what I'm going to do is I'm using the technique which is explained in the commentary, right? So to facilitate that method, I translated in a different way, which is more grammatically sound, right? Which is more grammatically sound, I translated. So it's going to be easy. If you know this sentence grammatically, if you know this thing grammatically, it's easy to translate. It is easy to get the Paramatta Dhammas based on the commentary. So that's why we are following this structure, right? So if you compare this, it's different, right? And there are and one of my other bhikkhus in Sri Lanka, South African bhikkhu, he also helped me a little bit. So he suggested a particular way, which was much easier than this. But again, there were some few things regarding the grammar. So we translated in this way, right? So anyway, it's not going to matter a lot. It's not going to have much of an impact if you when you understand the structure of the sentence properly and then learn how to derive the Paramatta Dhammas based on that. So this is the analysis of the question and the answer, right? So now in this line, which is in the bold letters, we see in the Pāļi, Cakkāyatanena ye dhamma khanda sanghahena asangahita, ayatana sanghahena asangahita, dhatu sanghahena asangahita, then te dhamma katihi khandehi, katihi ayatanehi, katihi dhatuhi asangahita. So this part is the question, right? Question. And this the answer is te dhamma chatuhi khandehi dvihayatanehi attahi dhatuhi asangahita. So we know that in Dhatukatha, to derive this answer, right, to derive this answer is difficult. Which one? To derive the answer for the ye dhamma, right? This is the most difficult part. The other things are easy, right? So to derive this, what are we going to do, right? Right. So the question, there are two parts, right? Two parts, part one, part two. I gave this now, right? So the first one, in the first part, if you analyze this sentence, Cakkāyatanena ye dhamma khanda sanghahena sanghahita, ayatana sanghahena asangahita, dhatu sanghahena asangahita. So Cakkāyatanena, now this sentence is in passive voice, right? In the Pāļi also it's in passive voice. So Cakkāyatanena means by the I base, right? By I base. So he's the subject. So in the Cakkāyatana, by the I base is the doer, right? The person, or in this case it's the Dhamma, which does something, right? It's in reality it doesn't do anything at all, right? I mean it comes to the classification, but in this sentence we can consider the Cakkāyatana as the doer, the person who is performing a particular task, right? Cakkāyatanena. So he's the one he's doing. So what does he do? He does a couple of things, right? So he classifies certain things, certain dhammas based on the classification of the aggregates. He classifies certain dhammas, unclassifies certain dhammas based on the classification of bases. He unclassifies some dhammas based on the classification of elements. So he does these kind of things, right? So this part is explained here, instrument and verb. So in Pali, we know in the instrument case is given as ena for these kind of right? Khanda sangahena, khanda sangahena, ayatana sangahena, dhatu sangahena. So this is the instrument of this sentence, of this phrase rather, right? So chakkayatanena. The chakkayatana has three instruments, which is khanda sangahena, which means the classification of the aggregates. Ayatana sangahena is the second instrument, which means the classification of the bases. Dhatu sangahena, it is this third instrument, which is the classification of the elements. So what does it do? Khanda sangahena sangahita. Khanda sangahena sangahita means it classifies some dhammas based on the classification of the aggregates, right? And then ayatana sangahena asangahita, unclassified. Asangahita means unclassified. Unclassified using the basis. Dhatu sangahena asangahita, classified, unclassified asangahita, unclassified using the classification of elements. So these three it does, right? So whatever the dhammas, right? So the next sentence I'm going to tell is going to be very important, right? It's going to be very important. Whatever the dhammas which fulfill these three criteria: khanda sangahena sangahita, the classified using the classification of aggregates; ayatana sangahena sangahita, unclassified using the classification of bases; dhatu sangahena sangahita, unclassified using the classification of elements. So these dhammas which fulfills these criteria are called the yedhamma, these states, right? So that is what we have to derive first. Firstly, what you have to do is, by the I base, you have to get khanda sangahena, ayatana sangahena, and dhatu sangahena, right? Khanda sangahena sangahita, ayatana sangahena asangahita, dhatu sangahena asangahita, and derive these states, right? So this is the first part, what we are going to do. And then the rest is easy. Once you get the question, derive the answer from this question from here, the rest is very easy, right? Then it says the question it asks, te dhamma katihi khandehi katihi ayatanehi katihi dhatuhi asangahita. So so these dhammas, these states, under how many aggregates, under how many bases, and under how many elements are those states unclassified, right? So then the question is done, it's completed. And then we move into the answer. Then whatever the answer, it says those states are unclassified under 4 aggregates, under 2 bases, and under 8 elements, right? Chatuhi kandehi, dvihayatanehi, attahi dhatuhi asangahita, right? So I'm just explaining the structure of the sentence, right? I have not explained a single Paramatta Dhamma yet, right? I'm just explaining the structure of this sentence. Okay, so if you have any questions, please do ask me. I'll give you some time. Okay, no questions. Okay, so we'll move to the we will move into the next part now, to the second page number 2 of the document. Okay, so I prepared this document to get the Paramata Dhammas, I mean to derive the answer for this question. And this explanation, this whole thing, it's based on the on the commentary which is explained, right? So all these lines, all these explanations are pretty much the same which comes in the commentary in the Dhatukatha. So I will go through it. Cakkāyatana. Now we have the sentence, the question here, right? So part one of the question sentence is here. Cakkāyatanena ye dhamma khanda sanghahena sanghahita ayatana sanghahena asangahita dhatu sanghahena asangahita. Right? So this is the part that we are going to do, right? So first we have to take the classification of the aggregates, right? Cakkāyatanena ye dhamma khanda sanghahena sanghahita. These states, ye dhamma means these states, khanda sanghahena asangahita means are classified using the aggregates. So by the I base, no, we know the I base, it's a matter, right? It belongs to the one of the 28 matters, right? The Rupa Dhamma, right? So when we are classifying it, so it is classified, the I base, it is classified in matter aggregate. I hope this is clear, right? Already have done this thing, right? In the first method, it's classified in matter aggregate. It's done, right? So, but you have to remember, now we have three criteria here: khanda sanghahena sanghahita, ayatana sanghahena asangahita, and dhatu sanghahena asangahita to derive the ye dhamma. So even though this part is done, khanda sanghahena sanghahita is completed, ye dhamma, the answer for the ye dhamma, you have not derived yet. That you have to remember, right? So having this, right, having the I base, having the I base classified in the matter aggregate, then we have to move into the other part, ayatana sanghahena asangahita, which means now here it was sanghahita, right? Now here it is asangahita, unclassified using the bases, right? So unclassified using the bases. So when we are coming to this part of this part of the question, right? We have to we cannot stand alone look at the Cakkāyatana and then see where it is not classified, unclassified. We cannot stand alone look at Cakkāyatana and then consider it where it is unclassified, right? So we have to consider the previous criteria as well, because there are three criteria you have to fulfill, right? Okay, somebody's asking a question. Bante, please go to the English channel. Or are you asking me to join the Chinese channel? I think there are questions from Chinese students. Okay, let's hold on and answer their questions, right?
Hello, Bande, can you hear me?
Yes, I joined the English channel now.
Yeah, yes, hello. You should go to English channel. Otherwise, you cannot hear our voice.
Oh, I see. Okay,
yeah. So, Bande, for
I think for the English users, there's no problem, right? They're already here, right? I think everything
yes,
is fine.
Bande. If they listen, no problem, Bande. Just
yeah.
You cannot hear us.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
So, Bande, I want to know, should we explain ye dhamma here first?
We should explain ye dhamma here first.
Should we do?
Oh, what I was telling also, I hope that it's clear up to this point, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what I was telling also is that even though we get this thing, the khanda sanghahena sanghahita thing, The answer for the Ye Dhamma is not completed yet. It's not derived yet.
Okay.
Right? So we have to go through the other two criteria as well to get the answer for the Ye Dhamma. Because we know that in the classification, in the classification, the Sangaha and Asaññābhavo, it's the Ganana Sangaha. Can you remember that? You consider like if somebody if something belongs, somebody fall into a particular criteria, it's considered as in that case, in that classification, we can say, right? Now we know I base and the other rupa dhammas have one common factor. Can anybody name it? One common factor. If you consider I base and the rest, the other rupas, other 27 rupas, or because there is one common factor. We know using the I base, what we do. The functionality of the I base is to see, right? See the visible form. That's the functionality of the I base, which is specific for that.
Yes, Bhante.
Right? But the I base and the other rupas, other matters, they have one.
That's what I mean, Bhante. So what
Yeah.
I mean is, should we know the Ye Dhamma according to the Paramattha Rupa?
Ye Dhamma?
If should we know the content of the Ye Dhamma, like we should understand the 27 types of rupa first, or not?
No, we cannot get it done. We just consider rupa kanda. The I base is considered in rupa kanda. That's it.
Okay, Bhante.
That's it. By this point, Khanda Sangahana Sangahita, we don't consider like how many rupas. It's not like that. We just take the Chakkayatana, I base, and then consider this as it's in the Rupa Khanda. That's it.
Okay, Bhante. Sorry.
Right. Okay. So then, okay. So further explanation from this point. So do we have any other questions? The other English speaking Dhamma friends?
Excuse me, Bhante.
Yes.
Yes. Bhikkhu Atulañāṇa, here we use it as the subject, but it is an instrumental case. Why it is used as subject?
There are a couple of things which I need to clarify. Right? Okay, let's go to this one. Right, it need to be easier. Okay, I'll explain why I use some of these terms. Right, it might look not very clear for you. Right, one thing is that now I read a little bit. I'm not an English. I'm not a native speaker. I'm not a specialist in English grammar. Right. So what I learned, from what I read from the internet, for the instrument case, we can use the term using and by both. Right. And for the subject in the passive voice sentence, we can use the by. So I prefer to go with the Chakkayatana, the subject of the sentence, of this passive voice sentence, as by here. Right? And then from then I use it here. Right? So for the instrument of this sentence, Khanda Sangahena, Ayatana Sangahena, Dhatu Sangahena, I use the term using. That's how I translated it. Not to confuse it. I mean, technically you can use by for both, which is going to be correct grammatically in English, as far as I know, right? I read it. So but I wanted to distinguish this by I mean the subject and the instrument. So that's why I use these two terms here. And did I answer your question? Yes.
Thank you, Pante.
Yes, yes. I mean the reason is like in the Tika, in the sub-commentary, this grammatical the clarification, it's what do you call this? It's analyzed in this way, right? Khanda Sangahena, it's like it's the in Pali you call it Karana Vibhatti. This is the Karana Niddesa. That's how it explains this Tika. So that's why I specifically use the term instrument here. So this is it says Kattu. Kattu means the subject of the sentence. So it's like that. Okay.
Yes, it's clear, Pante. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So we come here, right? Back to the original place we stopped. So I hope it is clear up to this point where how to derive the aggregates, right? The states are classified using the aggregates. So we just consider the matter, the I base is included, is classified in matter aggregates. That's all. Now the next one is Ayatana Sangahena Asangahita. And I told that if when we are dealing with Ayatana Sangahena Asangahita, we cannot stand alone look at the I base and then consider this a set of dhammas which are unclassified using the I base. So we have to consider the first criteria as well, right? So that's why I explained, I translated, which is in the commentary, when the I base is classified in matter aggregates, which means we are considering this part as well, right? We are considering the first criteria as well, right? When the I base is classified in matter aggregate, in the classification of the bases, right? So now we are in the Ayatana Sangaha. So Ayatana Sangaha, in the classification of the bases by the classifier term I base. So we have to get the subject here, right? Because the subject is connected to all these three instruments, right? Kanda Sangahena, Ayatana Sangahena, and Dhatu Sangahena. So to all these instruments, this is connected. So by the classifier term I base, right? We can use the classifier term. Yeah, here is the term classifier term I base. The I base is classified. So what is done? Using the I base, it's included in the class I base. It's classified in the I base, right? So now what we are looking at is Asangahita, right? Asangahita means the dhammas which are unclassified. So it says the other 10 bases where the materiality is included are unclassified, right? The other 10 bases. Now we know in 10 bases, in all, in 11 bases, the materiality are included in the classification of the bases, right? So what are those 10? The 10 gross bases plus the ideation base, the Dhammayatana, right? We are clear on that, right? So the Chakkayatana is already classified in where the I base, right? I base is including I base itself. So the other 10 bases which where the materiality is included are considered as unclassified, right? So that is the Asangahita. So what are the Paramata Dhammas which are unclassified? Those are these 27 matter excluding the I base. Okay, so now we have an answer for Ye Dhamma, partially, right? We have the answer, right? We cannot stop there. We have to move to the next step, right? The third one is the third criteria. Okay, anyone can ask questions from here. I think it's better to clarify it here itself and go to the next step. Okay, no questions. Okay, so we'll move to the next one. It's the Dhatu Sangahena Asangahita. So in Dhatu Sangahena Asangahita, I have translated the commentary. When the I base is classified in the matter aggregate in the classification of the elements, right? So we have to consider this one, right? Khanda Sangahena Sangahita, right? It's classified in the matter aggregate. Also, we can consider the other part as well. I mean, the classification of bases. By the classifier term I base, the I element is classified, right? So by this classification term, by the classifier, the I element is classified. The other 10 elements where the materiality is included are unclassified. So the other 10 material, the bases, right? What are those? Now we know all in all, there are 11 elements which the materiality is included, right? So what are those? The 10 gross elements and the ideation element. So that's how there are 11, right? But the I base is already classified in the I element. The rest, the other 10 elements where the materiality is included are considered unclassified. So the Paramatha Dhammas, which are the Paramatha Dhammas which are related here is the 27 matter excluding I element, right? Same Dhammas, right? It does not change. The same thing. With the same thing, we work to we lead out the same thing from these two, right? So now the most difficult part is done because we already know Ye Dhamma, right? Now what you have to remember is to derive Ye Dhamma, you have to do three things, right? Khanda Sangahena Sangahita, we had Ayatana Sangahena Asangahita, Dhatu Sangahena Asangahita. We have to consider all three, and then derive the Ye Dhamma. Right? Okay. The rest is easy. Te Dhamma, Katihi Kandehi, Katihi Ayatanehi, Katihi Dhatuhi Asangahita. Under how many aggregates, under how many bases, and under how many elements are these states unclassified? So the question, right? The question which comes here is Asangahita, right? The Asangahita, it comes here, right? So Asangahita means, so Te Dhamma means the answer which we got here for Ye Dhamma and Te Dhamma, same, right? Ye and Te. So those the Dhammas, where they are unclassified, the answer is given as Te Dhamma Chatuhi Khandehi Dvihayatanehi Attahi Dhatuhi Asangahita. Those states are unclassified under 4 aggregates, under 2 bases, and under 8 elements, right? So the 27 matter excluding I base. So they are unclassified under 4 aggregates. Why? Now we are talking about 4 aggregates. So what are those 4 aggregates? Feeling, perception, volitive formations, and consciousness, right? The Namakanda, right? The mind and matter, the khandas which are associated to the mind and matter. So they are unclassified here, right? Because the Rupa Khanda, it's classified. The unclassified is the Namak Khandas. Then unclassified under 2 bases, right? So this 27 matter excluding I base, they are unclassified under 2 bases. What are those 2? One is the I base, because I base is not included here, right? The 28th type of materiality, the number 28, right? Which is not included here. the I base, so it is unclassified. It's unclassified, and also the mind base is unclassified, right? Because in the other 10 bases which the materiality is involved, it will be classified. So the unclassified places are the I base and mind base. And it says the attahi dhatuhi asangahita. Attahi dhatuhi means 8 elements. So what are those 8 elements? I element and 7 consciousness element, right? So these 7 consciousness elements means now in the in the classification of elements, the consciousness, the vijnana, it's divided into 7. So these 7 elements we consider it as asangahita, right? So now we know the answer for this question. So and one more thing, that in the commentaries and in the explanation of the Dhatukatha, we'll be frequently using this term, right? 7 consciousness elements, and seven consciousness element. We consider them together, and sometimes when we use these terms, right? Based on when we need to get the Paramattha Dhammas, we consider these terms, right? So you slowly will be familiar with these terms when we are learning this thing. So now we have questions. You all can ask. Oh, I think maybe the English users need to join the English channel. So is it? If they want to ask me questions.
Yes, Bande. If you stay in English channel, you will directly hear their question.
Yes. So it's a kind request for the English-speaking Dhamma friends to switch into the English channel,
And
right?
Bande, they are now staying in the English channel already.
Oh, already, okay.
Yes, Bande.
Or maybe I don't know. It's like I see. It says original audio interpretation of English and Chinese. Okay, hope.
Yes, but except the host for the other audience, we stay only 2 channels, English channel or Chinese channel.
Okay, good. Yes. Right. Okay, so it means we don't have any questions, right? So this is okay. Now I have written something here. Right, so method 2, actually there are 2 types. Type 1, states classified under same aggregate but not under the same base or element. This is the type 1. States classified under the same aggregate but not under the same base or element. This is type 1. Right, there's type 2, we will discuss later. Need to show this graph. Right, so here we have this thing in a summary. This I prepared based on the explanation which is from the Burmese Sayadaw's books, and they're modified according to the style of explanation which we see in the commentary, right? So not the same. You will not find the same in the Burmese books, right? If you know Burmese and start comparing, you will not find the same thing, same presentation, right? So that I have to emphasize, like, unless you will be confused, right? So we were discussing the first one, right? Type 1 or group 1, Sakkāyatanena, and we discussed this thing, right? So in your document, right, So in your document, in the final page, you may find this thing in this small table. Right. So this is from Mulapattana Sayadaw's book, right? Like this, I just took a screenshot and pasted it there. So now we learned this one, type number 1, right? So for type number 1, we can find the other states of inquiries by looking at this chart, right? So here it's mentioned that there are 26 states, right? 26 states, which comes similar to the one which we discussed right now, right? So and the corresponding numbers are also explained, included, shadow included here, right? 171, 173, 175. So from 171 there are 18. From 173, 5, 175, 2. We'll have a quick look so that you will be very familiar with it, right? Right. So here we have Chakkayatanena, starting from Chakkayatanena ye Dhamma, then Pottabbayatanena ye Dhamma, then Chakudhatuya, Pottabadhatuya. Right. So from Chakkayatana to Pottabbayatana, there are 10, right? Chakkayatana to Pottabbayatana, there are 10 Dhammas here. And from Chakudhatuya to Pottabadhatuya, there are 10 Dhammas here. So all in all, there are 20. But we don't consider Pottabadhatuya, right? Pottabadhatu and Pottabbayatana, we consider as a different group. We include it in a different group. So we don't consider it here in the group number 1, right? So we only have 18 here, not 20. From like that, we consider it in the other part. And
sorry, Bande, can you explain again why not 20, just 18?
Why 18, right?
Yes.
Yes. It's a small difference. It's a small difference here. We find it in group 2, which we are going to learn next, the next part.
Okay, Bande.
Right. It's, I mean, the reason for, I mean, the basis on the classification is that sometimes it's like it's the same. The answer might be the same for the same type of similar types of dhammas, right? Similar or pretty much similar dhammas. So in Pāļi, I mean, now here you see the method is same, right? The Paramata dhammas are slightly different. I mean, the final answer is also the same, right? It's the same answer we get, but the Paramata dhammas are different for Chakkayatana and Pottabbayatana. So because of that, they have these groups here, different groups here, to learn it easily. That's why. Anyway, now we'll learn the Pottabbayatana now. Okay, any question as far as now? Okay, good. Okay, so we'll move to the number 2 in the group. Pottabbayatanena ye dhamma, khanda sanghahena sanghahita, ayatana sanghahena asangahita, dhātu sanghahena asangahita, te dhamma katihi khandehi, katihi ayatanehi, katihi dhātuhi asangahita, te dhamma chatuhi khandehi, dvihayatanehi, Attahi dhatuhi asangahita. These states are classified using the aggregates, unclassified using the bases, unclassified using the elements by the tangible object base, right? So this tangible object base is the Pottabbayatana. Under how many aggregates, under how many bases, and under how many elements are those states unclassified? Those states are unclassified under 4 aggregates, under 2 bases, and under 8 elements, right? So the answer is the same, right? The number of aggregates, bases, and the elements for Pottabbayatana is same with the previous one which we discussed, right? For this with the Chakkayatana. But we have to, the Paramata Dhammas are different, so we have to go through it and understand it. Right. So now straight away we can use this table for that. Right. So now now this graph, it might look, I mean this table, it might look a little bit confusing, right? Because the Yedamma, I mean now I have included the Pāļi here, right? A small guide to work on the Pāļi here, and Yedamma anyway it's at the in the latter part of this sentence, right? So ideally it should be in this side, Sakkayatana and Yedamma. So but we have to work on these 3 instruments to derive the Yedamma. So I move this column to this part, right? So it will be easy when you get familiar with it, right? So Pottabbayatanena. So what are the Dhammas which are associated with Pottabbayatanena? Earth, heat, and air. Right? So those 3 elements are called as Pottabbayatanena. The tangible object, right? Pottabbayatanena Yedamma Khanda Sangahena Sangahita Ayatana Sangahena Asangahita. So how to derive this answer? So Pottabbayatana, it's a matter, right? So these 3 Dhammas, the earth, heat, and air are matter. So they are included in the matter aggregate. And then the next one is Ayatana Sangahena Asangahita. So Pottabbayatana is included in a separate Ayatana, right? In a separate base called we call it what? The tangible base, right? I'm sorry, sometimes I forget the English names. So the tangible base, the Pottabbayatana. So it's included in the Pottabbayatana. So the other 10 bases, which includes the matter, is unclassified. Right? So that's why I mentioned here the 10 bases where the matter is classified, excluding the tangible base. So excluding the tangible base, there are other 10 bases where the matter is unclassified, right? Matter is unclassified using the Pottabbayatana. So the Paramata Dhammas, anyway, it's going to be a little bit different because we had three types of matter for Pottabbayatana. So the rest, the 25 Dhammas, the 25 types of matter are considered to be unclassified. 25 matter excluding earth, heat, and air. Right. So this is how we derive the Yedamma for the Ayatana Sangahena Asangahita for the Pottabbayatana. Right. Okay. So any questions till now? Okay, then we move to the next one. Dhatu Sangahena Asangahita, unclassified using the elements. So again, the method is same. From the Pottabhayatana, the Pottabhayatana is classified in the tangible object element. So the other 10 bases, the other 10 elements where the matter is classified, they are being unclassified by the Pottabhayatana. So the 24 matter excluding, the 25 matter excluding earth, heat and air. So they are considered as unclassified. So they become the Yedhamma, which is included in this column. So the answer is same with the previous, right? These they are included. They are Asanghita, Te Dhamma Asanghita, means 4 mental aggregates. I think I made an error here, right? I have to correct this. This one is so this should be
And here should be Pottabhayatana.
yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah, I write here tangible and mind, right? Okay, so so they are unclassified in these 2 bases, right? Tangible object base and the mind base, and the same method is applicable for here as well, right? Tangible object and 7 mind elements. So this is how we derive the answer for the the Pottabhayatana. Okay. So do we have any questions till now?
And there's one question from the chat.
Oh, okay. Te Dhamma. Okay. The question is, Vandavi Bhante. May Bhante explain more about Te Dhamma? It is the is it I think she's asking, is it the remaining, right? No. Ye Dhamma and Te Dhamma are same. Like in Pali, we call it Niyama Niddesa and Aniyama Niddesa. Okay, now I don't know the English word for that.
Sorry, Bande. I think her question is not the comparison between Yedhamma, Te Dhamma. It is related to the subject. Is it the remaining of the subject?
Now, what do you mean by remaining? I mean, we
For
know.
example, Jakayatana already here, so the Te Dhamma should be the remaining of the other rupa.
No, it's not like that. Okay, so I'll make it the. Okay, so wait. So then I will. I know why this question comes. It's the reason is that I told you that the technique which is used by the Myanmar Sayadaws is that for each of these methods in the Dhatukatha, there are some rules explained by the rules which is taught for each of these method, right? For second method, there are few rules, and by looking at the Paramattha Dhamma itself, by looking at the state of inquiry itself, the student can get an answer how the Ye Dhamma is going to be. It's like that. So in Burmese they call it Ye. What happened now? In Burmese they call it, I'm just writing, right? Ye Swe, like that, right? I'm romanizing it a bit, right? So Ye means Ye, Swe means attaching this Ye. It's like that. What are the Dhammas which comes for Ye? So straight away they have some set of rules. So they, by looking at the state of inquiry, they do this Ye Swe straight away. So so for the Ye Swe for the Cakkāyatana, using the Burmese method, is they consider, right? So Cakkāyatana is the right. Cakkāyatana is the state of inquiry. The remaining remaining 27 matter becomes the answer for the Ye, which is correct, of course, right? I mean the remaining 27 physical states, right? I mean the final answer which we got here, the 27 matter excluding the eye sensitivity, right? So straight away you get it, but you have to remember and memorize these rules. For I think for the second method, they have like I think about 4 or 5 rules. For third method, there is I cannot remember exactly because I learned it, of course, but I did not memorize it like the Burmese tradition. So I pretty much followed what is in the commentary, which I
So have 8 groups.
Sorry?
8 groups. I have 8 groups.
Yes, we have 8 groups, but I think the rules maybe not 8. It should be different. Like we consider group 1 and group 2, it's one rule. It's like I'll teach you the first rule. First rule is like if the state of inquiry is the gross physical state. If it's a gross matter, the remainder is going to be the answer for Ye.
So the first one is yes, except the gross rupa, which means Potaba, the remaining 9 types of rupa. Second group is about Potaba, Potaba-yatana, Potaba Dhatu. Third group is about 7 types of Vijnana Dhatu. Fourth group is about the Indriya, like this. Totally have 8 groups.
Yes, 8 groups. The number of rules are different also.
Okay.
Like it's like rule. I mean the Cakkāyatana which we discussed and the Potaba Dhatu. The both of them are what do you call them? The gross matter, right? So it's one rule. You have to remember. It's like that.
Okay.
So anyway, so then they straight away know the answer for Ye Dhamma. Then it's like they pretty much they don't need to consider all this Kanda Sanghayana Sanghita, Ayatana Sanghayana Sanghita, Dhatu Sanghayana Sanghita. They straight away by looking at this part, they derive this answer. So you look at the Cakkāyatana, this is the answer. It's like that. And then this part is anyway easy. The answer of the question, it's going to be easy. That's how it's done in Myanmar. This is a very ancient technique. It's quite old, I think at least maybe 400-500 years at least, because we see this technique employed in the Burmese Niddesa as well. I saw it. It's pretty much based on this, that not pretty much, the whole thing, it's based on this technique that it's used here. So personally, I don't, I mean, in my opinion, I don't prefer this method which is taught in Myanmar. The reason being is that it's not natural for me. It's like now imagine like when Lord Buddha taught these things, taught this Dhamma, he did not teach the rules, right? So if the desana, if the state of inquiry is the Chakkayatana, you have to consider it, consider the gross basis, I'm sorry, the other 27 matter as the Yedhamma and go with this thing, right? I mean, I don't think it happened in that way. So whatever.
So I find the answer how to find the Yedhamma. 3 groups I find in the books. So first one, if it talk about the rupa, then ye means the same types khanda related to the subject. Also about the khanda, ayatana, dhatu, rupa is all the same. For example, if the subject is a gross rupa, then Yedhamma means all the rupas except the gross rupa. Then second one, if the subject is a subtle rupa, then Yedhamma means all the rupas except the subtle rupa. Then third types, if the subject is a rupa include.
No, it's not Saddha Rupa. It's Saddha. It should be Saddha Rupa, is it?
Subtle rupa is means include in the Dhamma, Dhatu, Dhammayatana. 16 types of subtle rupa.
Oh, so, okay, good. I thought you are talking. I'm sorry. I heard this English word. Sorry. I thought you are talking about the Pāļi, right? Subtle rupa, right? Subtle matter. Okay, yes.
Subtle.
I'm sorry.
And then if the subject is a mix of the subtle and also gross rupa, then the Yedhamma only means the remaining gross rupa. This is the condition when the subject is only rupa. Next one, if the subject is Vijnana, then the Yedhamma will be the same type of remaining khanda yatana, but different types of Vijnana. So it's explained the rupa and the Vijnana.
5, right? 5 rules here. Okay.
Actually, 3 groups, 5 ways. Yes, Mani.
Okay. So what I was telling is like I feel that it's not the natural way of explaining this thing. I mean, whatever is the commentary, I feel it's the natural way, and because I don't think that Lord Buddha explained the, to derive just the rules, teach the rules, and it's not like that, because now what I see from the commentary and on the Pāļi, this is a one method of developing our mind, like it's for the meditation. So next week I will present you all some details regarding this thing, which comes in the sub commentary. So it's what I understood on the commentary especially, which is very short. The comment is very short, but we find it like it's a method which is used to improvise the meditation. It's a method of meditation. So if you exclude this part, and then straight away go to from here to here, and this important part of the meditation will be ignored. So that's how I understood this thing, my personal opinion, right? So based on what I read, so that's why I don't prefer to learn it, teach it in which is taught in the Myanmar way. But still there are, all these, the grouping and many things which I have used, it's based on the Burmese books. So I have that, I have to have that gratitude towards those sayadaws who did all this good work. So yeah, that's how I feel about it, how I understand it. Anyway, yes. Okay, so I think we will end the class now. We will end the class now. So y'all have a homework, right? So homework is to go through each of these things, right? We have done now how many? This we have done, right? So for 28 states of inquiries, you can work on your own and figure it out. So usually we in classes in Pariyatti schools, maybe not in Myanmar, in Sri Lanka, I'll tell you what we do. Right? So usually the teacher he teaches, he explained the first how to do the the first method, the first for the first state of inquiry, the teacher will explain for each type. Maybe a 2, he will explain, and then each of the students, each of the bhikkhus, they get a chance to do it. In the class, they have to explain it to the class. Explain it to the class based on their seniority. The most senior student has to start from the next Dhamma. Then everybody get a turn. So that's how we learn in our Pariyatti monasteries when it comes to Dhatukatha. So everybody get a chance to read the Pāļi and then do it on your own on how to do it. So actually in the Sinhalese class we did it because it's quite easy because there is no language barrier. Plus we had time, we did it every day. The class we did for like 2 months, 2.5 months, like 5 days a week, 6 days a week. So we did this in our class. I know it's not possible to do it here, but why I'm telling all these things is to take time, take quality time, and go through these 28 states of inquiries and be familiarized with this technique. As I told you in the beginning of the class, if you are thorough with this concept on how to derive this thing, right, the answers properly, it's going to be easy. The entire book, entire Dhatukatha is going to be easy because you understand this thing at this point, the second method correctly at here itself. So take your time. As I told you, on the face it might look easy. It may look easy, but for some students, I know it takes time to absorb it, to get this thing, get the concept properly. Okay. Yes. So, do we have any questions? So we'll share the merits, right? No questions. Okay, so we'll share the merits which we accumulated today by learning, reflecting, and tasting the supreme words of Buddha. From this Kusala Kamma, may all these beings in this world and in the other worlds be happy, healthy, and peaceful, and may this Kusala Kamma be a supportive factor for them to attain Nibbana. May this Kusala Kamma be a supportive factor for us to attain Nibbana. From this wish, we will share the merits by the reciting the final stanzas which comes in the Abhidhamma commentary. Yang pattang kusalang tassa anubhavena panino sabbe saddhamma rajassa ñatva dhammang sukhavahang papunantu visuddhaya sukaya patipattiya asoka manupayasang nibbana sukha muttamang Cirang tittatu saddhammo dhamme hontu sagarva sabbepi satta kalena sammadevo pavassatu yatarakkinsu purana Surajano tatevimang raja rakkhatu dhammena attanova pajang imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya buddhang pujemi Imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya dhammang pujemi Imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya sanghang pujemi Addha imaya patipattiya Jati jara vyadi maranam ha parimuccissami idammi punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu idammi punyang nibbanassa paccayo hotu Mama punya bhagang sabba sattanang bhajemi te sabbe me samang punya bhagang labhantu sadhu sadhu sadhu.
Thank you, Bante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much.
Sukhi hotu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.